What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 15. Let's not waste too much time. Let's get into it. Lindy and Miguel. I have been saying for several weeks, I do not see it for Lindy and Miguel. I see no chemistry between them. I don't know what they have in common other than they both speak Spanish and their educational backgrounds. Oh, yeah, he likes to cook and she likes to eat. Other than that, I don't see what they have in common. I don't know. Every time we see them on the screen, they're arguing, they're having some type of conflict, some type of issue. I think that Lindy may not be ready for marriage, even though she got on this program to get married at first sight and she wants to be married and she sees this relationship with her and Miguel as a real marriage, which it is, I guess. And excuse me, and for her there's no other option than to stay together. She says divorce is not an option for us. If we have problems, if we have issues, the only thing that we can do is just to work them out. Okay, fine. So Miguel, he sees this as still an experiment. He's still testing the waters. He hasn't made up his mind yet, and he keeps telling her, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And whenever he tells her that, whenever he expresses his indecisiveness, she breaks down emotionally. I don't even know where to even to really begin as far as where the problems were in this episode. Okay, number one, the insurance card and the name change. So she had wanted him to put her on his insurance. He had wanted her to change her last name to his. So she says, once you put me on your insurance, I'll change my last name. He went ahead and he did that. The insurance cards came. She's happy. She's excited. She's covered. In case she ever gets hit by an effing bus, she can go see an effing physician. So then he says, what about the whole name thing? And she says that she has no problem changing her name or hyphenating her name or whatever the hell she's going to do. She says she has no problem with that. She should have just left it at that because she's the one that's trying to convince him to stay in this relationship with her because she's already made up her mind that she wants to be with him. He's the one that's still on the fence. So instead of her just saying, okay, yes, I'm going to change my name or hyphenate my name or whatever they decided to do and leaving it at that, she goes even further and says, I like my name the way it is. And I'm only doing it for you. You're the one that's wishy-washy about this relationship, but I'm only changing my name for you. And then he says to her, well, then you can just keep your name. You can just keep it. And I'm thinking to myself, Lindy, why would you say that to him? You are trying to work so hard to get this man on the same page as you as far as being in this marriage. And then you say something stupid like that. Okay, fine. Then the friends come over. After they get done playing Dungeons and Dragons, she goes to talk to her friend in private. And she begins to vent about all of her issues with Miguel. She says that Miguel is controlling. She says that she feels like she has to censor who she is. She can't be herself around him because when she is herself around him, he gets upset. Now, she completely, in my opinion, I think she completely exaggerated this whole Miguel is controlling thing. Number one, he doesn't tell you how to look, how to dress, how to wear your makeup, whether or not you can wear makeup. Mitch. He doesn't tell you how you can go out, when you can go out, can you hang out with your friends or not, Justin. I haven't seen anything about him that's controlling other than, there's no other than, I haven't seen anything about Miguel that would make me think, oh my God, that guy is so controlling. The things that she complained about is that he doesn't like it whenever she interrupts him when he's talking. He doesn't like it when she gets distracted when they're trying to have a serious conversation. She gets distracted by the fluffy white clouds. She gets distracted by people talking on the phone. She gets distracted by cars driving by. It really bugs him whenever she gets distracted when they're trying to have a conversation. And she doesn't like it when, I don't know if I said this or not, but he doesn't like it when she interrupts him when they're talking. I don't know if I mentioned that. So these are the issues that he has with her. And she tells her friend, he's just so controlling. I can't be myself around him. So you're saying you like to be the kind of person that interrupts people when they're talking. You like to be the kind of person that gets distracted very easily when you're trying to have a conversation. You like being that way. You like to yell. You like to get overly emotional. All of these things that he tried to let you know that he didn't like, that annoyed him, you like to be that way. So to me, I'm thinking maybe she's a little bit too immature for him and he wants her to kind of, get a little bit more maturity. But, Lindy's like, I can do what I want. I can say what I want. I can yell. I can distract. I can be distracted. I can interrupt you. That's who I am. And that's how he needs to accept me. Girl, I wouldn't accept you. as a friend if you were like that with me. I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want to talk to someone and their mind just wanders. Every little thing distracts them like they're a baby. Who would want to be in a relationship with someone like that? But she sees that there's nothing wrong with that. That's who she is, and he should just accept it. I was like, Lindy, I don't know what's going on, but no. It kind of seems like Lindy maybe grew up very spoiled, and her family kind of let her get away with her tantrums and all of her, I don't know what you want to call her little habits. They didn't say anything about it, but now she's in a seriously committed relationship. She's in a marriage with a man who's considering spending the rest of his life with her, and he's like, "Nah, this is not gonna work for me." So later on, they have a conversation with just the two of them, and this is when Miguel confronts her about Lindy venting to her friend about him. I don't know if he overheard their conversation or what, but he was like, "Yeah, you were venting to your friend. You were making me look like a villain to your friend and, saying all these things about me. And I would rather you come and talk to me about it. Okay, Miguel, let me stop you right there, sweetheart. It wasn't cute when Morgan did it to Ben, when she was trying to control Ben, who he could and couldn't talk to, and what he could and couldn't talk about with his friend Justin. And it's not cute when you do it to Lindy. Lindy has every right to vent to her friend. She can say whatever she wants to say about you if that's how she's feeling at the moment. If she wants to paint you out like a villain, well, at that moment she sees you as a villain. And she has every right to do that with her friend. You cannot control what she says to her friend when she's confiding in her friend about all of the frustrations that she's feeling about her marriage and or about her relationship with you. Miguel goes on further to say, if you have a problem, come talk to me about it. Well, the problem is Lindy doesn't know how to communicate. So when she does go to him, like when they had the whole selfie issue at the couples retreat, when she does go to him with a problem, she gets very snarky. She has a lot of attitude. She blames him for everything. She takes no accountability for herself. So her going to him with the problems that she has with him may not be the best thing because they don't know how to communicate. He doesn't like her communication style, and she thinks that he's, too controlling and he's trying to control her, who she is as a person. So the only option she has is to go talk to her damn friend. Her friend was like, well, you know what? Maybe this just isn't the guy for you. Yes, friend, I agree. This is not the guy for you. This is not the girl for you. This is a no-go. And I feel bad for Lindy because as much as she cries and cries and cries about wanting this relationship to work, it's just not, I don't think it's the best. I don't think they are very compatible. She needs a lot. I think she has to do a lot more growing up. She has to mature a whole lot more. Miguel seems like he's at that point in his life. He knows exactly what he wants and what he expects in a partner. I don't know if Lindy's there yet, but I know for sure, one thing's for certain and two things for sure. Lindy is not for Miguel. Miguel could have been a great catch for Lindy. I don't know, but I don't think Lindy is for Miguel. No, that's a no-go. Moving on to Alexis and Justin. Alexis and Justin. This was a very hard, segment to watch with them because this is when Justin had to give up his dog Maya. And the friend comes to take Maya and it's very emotional. And I was so glad to see Alexis was there to support Justin in this very, very difficult moment. You could tell how much it affected Justin to give up his dog. And what I didn't understand is, why are these people making such major, major decisions before decision day? Well, they're not even sure if they're going to stay with their partners, because Lindy and Miguel, the whole thing about changing her name, she made it seem like she was going to change her name before decision day. And he already added her to his insurance. So they're making major life changes before they've even figured out if they're going to stay with one another. Just like here, Justin giving up his dog without him really knowing whether or not him and Alexis are going to stay together. So Justin was under the impression that Alexis she was in it. Like she had committed herself to being with him. And that's why he ended up giving up his dog. Excuse me. He even said to his friend, I chose my wife over my dog. And later on, I think when they were having dinner, they got together having drinks with Kristen and Midge. I think Justin said that he was under the impression that Alexis was all in. Like her feelings for him were strong that she was going to say yes on decision day. And so that's when he ended up giving up his dog. And at some point he even told her, this is like a major step for me. And I hope you see how committed I am to you that I ended up giving my dog. So that should show you how committed I am to you. And then Alexis came back with, well, I hope you're not going to throw that back in my face one day. And I was like, this man made a very difficult decision. And I feel like the only reason why Justin said to her, I hope you see how dedicated I am to you because I gave up my dog. I think he said that because I don't think she expressed to him that she noticed how big of a decision this was for him. I don't think she expressed that to him. I don't think she said, oh my God, Justin, you must really, really love me to give up your dog. And I feel the same for you. Or this means a whole lot to me that you were willing to give up your dog, for our relationship to work. I don't think she expressed that at all. And that's the reason why he was seeking some type of affirmation from her when they were sitting on the couch. And he looked at her and he said, I hope you realize how committed I am to you because of what I just did. And the only thing she could say was, well, I hope you're not going to throw it back in my face one day. I hope you're not going to hold it over my head that you gave up your dog. And then at some point, she also says to him, I hope that you're not basing your decision on whether or not we should be together because you gave up your dog. And I think what she really meant was, I hope you don't think I'm going to give in and say yes to you just because you gave up your dog. And I feel like the only reason why Justin would give up his damn dog is because he felt like, or Alexis led him to believe that she was probably going to say yes on decision day or that she was going to be committed to him. I think that's why he ended up giving up his dog. I don't see Justin giving his dog to his friend because it was a lot for his friend to come there to pick up the dog. I think they said the friend drove 17 hours to get there to get the dog. I don't think that they would have gone through all of that if he wasn't sure that she wanted to stay with him. And now that he did it, gave up the dog. Now she's all like, well, just don't throw it back in my face. And don't base your decision on the fact that you gave up your dog for me. He tells Nate that he had asked her if she was going to say yes on decision day, and she would not give a straight answer. So he then goes on to tell Nate, that's when I had to remove my emotions from this and look at it from the outside looking in and evaluate the situation and just look at the, bare bones facts of what's been going on. And he goes, and that told me all that I needed to know. And he said that he is 90% sure that he's going to say no on decision day. Later on, Alexis tells Kristen and Mitch when they went out for drinks that she's 90% sure that she's going to say yes. And that wasn't good enough for Justin. He was like, 90% is not good enough for me. Justin has not been the same since they came back from Mexico. I have been saying that for a long time. He has not been the same since they came back from Mexico. Oh, and another thing, she also has something really snarky to say about their lovemaking. I think they were coming back from the couples retreat and they were talking about how Nate seems like he's such a freak. And I don't know what was said. Let me get this right because I was like, there's trouble in paradise. I think it was, they were coming back from the couples retreat. They were driving in the car together and, Alexis said that she wishes that she had a freak like Nate. And Justin says he needs to improve his stamina. And then she went further on to say that he needed to, and he also needed to improve his thrusting. And I was like, Lord have mercy. Was it that bad, Alexis? Was it that bad? My God. Anyways, I believe that Alexis has been playing games with this man from day one. She's been playing with his mind. She's been tugging and pulling. She's been tugging and pushing, pulling and pushing, pulling him. She pulls him in. He gets in. He's like, okay, this is right. This feels good. She feels for me. I feel for her. It's going in the right direction. Then she pushes him away. She pulls him back in again with all the things that he wants her to say. Then she pushes him away again. So she's playing that pull and push game with him. And I'm glad that Justin says that he finally removed his emotions out of it. And he had to look at everything from the outside looking in. But damn, him giving up his dog. Because once he gave up Maya, And Maya, I don't know. I'm thinking, well, can't you just get your dog back if this doesn't work out? Excuse me, if this doesn't work out, can't you just get your dog back? But maybe it's not right for the dog. If he's going to get really acclimated to Chris's home, Chris being the friend, and, he's going to be comfortable there, the family's going to fall in love with him, and then just to snatch him right back again. Maybe that wouldn't be right for the dog or for the family members that may be living there, especially if there's kids there. So, Justin and Alexis, yeah, that's a no go. That is a no go. And I do believe that Alexis leads him on. And I do believe that Alexis plays with his mind but you know what? She also has glaring red flags that Justin should have seen. The going out to the clubs and you're a married woman. The whole thing about acting like, you gave up your dog, but don't use that against me kind of thing. And I think that for a long time, those red flags have been there, but he's been ignoring them, ignoring them, ignoring them because he really felt for this woman and he really wanted it to work out. But now he had to take off his blinders. He had to open up his eyes and smell the damn coffee. And so, yeah, he's seeing it for what it is. Thank God. Moving on to Starsha and Nate. So Starsha has built a home, right? She has been building this home way before she got on the show, and the house is complete. And I guess they just have to add like a little bit of finishing touches here and there. So this is her home. And they went to go see this home because this is where they're going to be living if they should both say yes on decision day. I felt like when they were going through the house, Nate had like attitude or something. There was something going on with Nate. He really wasn't on his best behavior. He was kind of, I don't know, kind of a little bit standoffish, kind of rude. I don't know what was going on there. Like, I don't know. But anyways, maybe I was just saying things. So they're in the house, they're looking around, and their whole issue in this episode was whether or not, number one, can this home that was built, can it really be a home for the both of them? Number one. Number two, they talked about children. It seems like Nate is not ready for children anytime soon because Alexis said, I'm not, excuse me, Starsha said that, hey, we can have kids and we can still have fun and do the things that couples do, and it's not going to change anything between us. Whereas Nate feels like once you have children, that's it. Any fun couple things is over. Y'all are just mom and dad now. Y'all are no longer husband and wife. Y'all are no longer lovers. Y'all are no longer none of that. The romance is gone. The romance is dead. All you got to do now is just take care of these kids, change diapers, feed, burp, whatever. And he's like, I don't understand how we're going to be able to do any of these fun things once we have children. And she's like, of course we can still do couples things and do fun things with kids. Now, he talked a lot about, we can't travel with a baby. Of course not. It's not fun to travel with a little baby. But when he was talking about the whole baby thing and traveling, I thought his issue was, yeah, if we won't be able to travel once our children are like really young and small and babies. But maybe when they're older, it'll be a lot easier to travel with children who are a little bit more self-sufficient. That's what I thought he was saying. But then later on, they're in their apartment and they're having this debate about children. And it's kind of like he's just not crazy about having kids, period. Then she gets even darker and deeper when she says something about how because his mom abandoned him, this might affect his decision on whether or not to have children because he doesn't want his wife to abandon their kids. And so he talked about how his mother was only like 23 or 26 years old when she met his dad, and she wasn't ready to be a mom or a wife. And so she ended up, abandoning everybody. She left everybody. And Starsha was like, but I'm not like that. I'm not a young 23, 26-year-old woman who still wants to have a good time. I'm 37 years old with bills, responsibilities, a career, and I'm ready to settle down and have some damn kids. I'm not going to abandon my children. And so it kind of seems like he's really leaning towards maybe not having kids or maybe not having them as soon as Starsha would like. Then the thing with the house, when they went to the hardware shop or the home improvement shop to go find doorknobs and, little things to kind of add the finishing touches to the house because the house is complete. It's done. Everything he chose, she didn't like. But then later on, she says, I want you to feel comfortable in this home. I want this to be your home too. But then you go crazy when he chooses a doorknob. Like, girl, even if it's not what you would choose, let that man have some crazy looking doorknob. If that's what's gonna make him feel like, okay, there's a little bit of Nate in this house. It's not just all Stasha. And she's like, and he's worried about her being able to give up any kind of control and to allow him to feel at home in her house. And she thinks that she is going to be giving up control to make him feel comfortable. But Sasha, you're not. Because as soon as they hadn't even moved in yet, and she was like, well, I have some rules. I have some house rules. You can't do this and you can't do that. You can't do this. And he's looking at her like, I don't do those things anyways. I don't want to do I'm not like that. What are you talking about? Because she was talking about, I don't want any scruff marks on my wall. And he was kind of like, yeah, I don't either. What's happening here? I don't want scruff marks on the walls either. So, and then she talked about putting a sticker on the toilet lid to remind him to put the toilet seat down. I'm like, girl, you are doing the most. You're doing the absolute most. So Starsha and Nate, I don't know. There's definitely chemistry between Starsha and Nate. I definitely see the chemistry, the attraction there. It seems like that they do have some things in common. But his thing about wanting to be able to really, for them to blend as one, and for his voice to be heard, and for her to not be so controlling and be the one that's kind of like, I wear the pants around here because I make more money, so I make the decisions and you just have to go along with it. I don't think Nate's going to care for that too much at all. Not at all. And then they have to figure out what they're going to do about this whole situation with the children. He wants kids. He just doesn't want them like right now, like the way she wants them. Moving on to Mitch and what's her name? Kristen. Mitch and Kristen. The only thing that I want to talk about with Mitch and Kristen. So Mitch was going to go to a environmentalist conference where the environmentalist people get together and I guess, come up with laws, rules, and regulations to hopefully become law. I have no idea. So he's gone. And the good thing is when he was gone, they did FaceTime each other. They did communicate. And, they talked about how much they missed each other. They both talked about how, well, I can't wait for you to come home. So they missed each other. They're looking forward to seeing each other again. So Mitch comes home and they're going to go to spend the day at the beach. So on the way to the beach, she notices that he wasn't wearing his ring. So things took a very weird turn because then he says, yeah, I took my ring off. And she was kind of like, no, she asked him, where's your ring? And he says, well, he had it in the car. So he puts his ring back on. And as he's putting his ring back on, he says, okay, married Mitch is back. Kind of like there's single Mitch and there's married Mitch. So when he was at the conference, he was single Mitch. And so it's like, why? Why is there a single Mitch at all? Single Mitch should have died on the day of the wedding. Okay. That day of the wedding was the funeral for single Mitch and the birth of married Mitch. And there is no more single Mitch. Like, what's going on here? So later on, he says, and then he had the audacity to talk about the beautiful beach women. And I was like, Mitch, what is going on with you? Because we understand that Mitch, his preferred female, is a beachy, hippie kind of chick. And you would imagine that at this environmentalist conference, there probably were women that fit his type. And so he tells her that there were these beautiful women there, beautiful beach women were there. And the type of woman that you seek, you are surrounded by them at the conference and you feel comfortable telling sensitive Kristen this. But Kristen says, I'm going to put this behind me. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. And we're just going to have fun at the beach. Later on, they meet up with Justin and Alexis. And they talk about the whole ring thing. And the question came up, I think it was Alexis, why didn't you wear your ring? And he said that he didn't want to have to explain to his coworkers why he was wearing a wedding band. I guess I'm going to assume and going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he probably didn't want to go into too much detail. I'm on this show, Married at First Sight. I got married to a stranger. He didn't want to get into all of that. And it probably wouldn't have been proper, maybe because these people really know him, for him to say, oh, I got married, but I don't want to talk about it. Or I got married and y'all had no idea that I was even seeing anyone. And it was going to lead to more and more questions. And so he would rather have just not worn his ring and not have anybody ask him any questions. Okay, I kind of sort of get that. But then Alexis said, but you should still wear your ring, at least to let other women know that you're taken. True enough. But what if it's true that he had coworkers there that would start asking him a whole bunch of questions about why he got married, or who did he marry, or what's going on, or we don't know you were dating. And you know what I mean? So I kind of see why he wouldn't. But for him to say, okay, I'm no longer single, Mitch, let me put my ring back on, now I'm married, Mitch. I don't understand why he didn't explain to Kristen in the car when she first asked him about the ring. Why couldn't he say then and there, look, I'm sorry, I took off my ring because I didn't want my coworkers or whoever these people are, I didn't want them to ask me questions about why I was wearing a wedding ring. I'm not ready to talk about, maybe they're not allowed to talk about their experience on the show while they're still filming. Maybe he just chose not to talk about it, whatever. And Kristen says that she trusts him. She goes, I trust Mitch. So if she trusts him, what can you do? I'm going to give Mitch the benefit of the doubt, but I think that he should have left out talking about the beautiful beach women that were there. And he should not have mentioned that that single Mitch is alive and well. I don't know. I feel like where we're at now, the only reason why I don't think that Mitch and Kristen will work is because Mitch is just too, the whole environmentalism thing. I don't think Kristen would be able to live like that for a very long time because he's been like this his whole life. So it ain't nothing for him. And I don't think that she really knows what she's getting herself into once she sees exactly how militant he is about his in his environmentalism. That's the only thing that I feel like maybe it would not work between them. Other than that, I think they have a decent chance. Starsha and Nate, I felt like they kind of had a decent chance as well, but Starsha's going to have to really try to let go of some of this control. And I just don't know. The thing about the cleanliness and being orderly and neat and all of that, you really have to have some kind of self-awareness to know that when you live with someone else, they're not going to be on that level. And you're going to have to be kind of okay with if they leave a cup, a plate, and a spoon in the sink and they don't wash it immediately. And I understand that people who are very OCD, when they see things like that, they feel like they have to control it and act on it because they're worried that if they don't, it's just going to get worse. So it's like, okay, today he's leaving a fork in the sink. Tomorrow I'm going to come home and my whole entire counter is going to be full of dirty dishes. I understand that fear, but you're going to have to let go a little bit because you're going to be living with somebody else who may not be on that level. And I don't think Nate, I don't know him. I haven't lived with him, so I can't say whether he's neat or not neat or what level of neatness he's on. I don't know. But I feel like Starsha, it's okay to kind of bring it down just a tiny bit, girl. You can still get on him for the major stuff, but if he leaves a spoon in the sink, don't lose your mind over it. Don't threaten divorce over a spoon in the sink. I think I'm done with my review. It wasn't all that much. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.